So this week we're supposed to review the Ender 2 from Creatlity, a great printer at a great price. But there's a problem. How's it going, everyone? This is Jason with 3D Matter Makers. So I ran into a little bit of an issue this week. I had plans for what I wanted to do this week. I knew that I wanted to review the Ender 2 as a 1-month follow-up, and then next week I was going to go back to the Zonestar P802QR2 and do a follow-up video on it, and then go back to the FormBot Raptor and do a follow-up on that printer. So, as most of y'all, or a good portion of y'all, have probably heard by now, there is a lot going around about Creatlity and the GPL violations. There's a lot of videos popping up, a lot of people discussing the issue. There's a lot of people on both sides of the fence. More people seem to be on the side of the fence that they are not going to endorse Creatlity, some even going further with other brands, and boycotting, essentially, or not reviewing at least, any of their printers. So this got me thinking. I am a new channel. You know, we here at 3D Matter Makers have only been around for about a month. My business partner has his own printers, and I have my own printers, and I've been building up my printer stock. I bought 3 printers the first month, and those are the 3 that I'm running. I was getting ready to order a couple of more printers, specifically an Ender 3, and possibly, maybe a Creatlity CR10S or some other versions too. So then this GPL issue came out. Now, I know a lot of y'all are probably saying, you're a new printer, you're just hopping on this bandwagon because it's the latest fad and you don't want to be out with the community. And while that's a happy coincidence that that's true, let me explain my background. Yes, I am new to the 3D printing world. No, I am not new to the technology and open source world. I cut my chops in IT as a programmer. And I did deal with a lot of open source stuff. And I do also still work in the field. My current position is as a storage administrator, VMware administrator, and backup administrator. So I do have a lot of experience in the IT world. I've been in this field for about, almost 30 years now professionally. While I'm new to 3D printing, I am not necessarily new to the world of open source. Like I said, I was a programmer. And back in my programming days, there were a lot of places where I pulled open source code to build my own code. I understood that I could give my stuff back and then other people could build more upon it and I would be able to see that. So this is the issue. If you don't know, Creatlity, along with other specifically Chinese manufacturers, have used the Marlin firmware as an open source base code to build their printers on. Without this open source code, they obviously could not get their printers to function, or they would have to write their own. Well, by circumnavigating the whole writing their own and all the cost and time associated with that, they were able to pump out a great product at a very reasonable price. And that's great for them. And that's great for us because we get a cheap printer that prints fantastic, and we get it at a price that's affordable to everybody, that anybody can get into it. And that's great for the community. The problem is that because they haven't released the upgrades that they did to their Marlin source code back out to the public, no one can take that code and further expand upon it, which is the entire point of a GPL license. Let's just take another look at this for a second. Let's assume that 5 years ago, Marlin released but was not open source. It was free to use, but it wasn't open source. Any company that made their own changes to it or made their own improvements to it kept it to themselves. Enter Creatlity. Now, they have just the base code. All these upgrades that these other companies have spent time and money and research developing these great add-ons to the base source code, they don't have them now because none of those companies released it, because they didn't follow the GPL either. Now, of course, this is a hypothetical to some degree. Now, that means that Creatlity gets code that's very base and missing a lot of stuff. So guess what? They have to spend all this time and money to get the code to work the way they want it to and to have the features they have. But they didn't have to do that because everybody, well, not everybody, because a lot of people who did do developments, or the majority, gave that code back out as the OpenGPL license requires. So Creatlity got a much better source code to base their printer off of. And that's because the other people honored the GPL and gave the code back out. And again, this goes both ways, because if Creatlity releases the code for the upgrade, and specifically people are wanting the power failure resume print function, it's something we all would like to have as a feature, because it sucks to run a 60-hour print and have a power blip because a storm rolled by and you've lost all that time. So it's something that everybody could benefit from. But Creatlity does not want to release it. Now, they have released a statement saying that they had a third party write it and it would be violating their contract with the third party. But the fact of the matter is, Creatlity is the distributor of this particular piece of hardware, which is based upon the Marlin firmware. So regardless of what contracts they have, they're both technically in violation of the GPL agreement that they originally based their product off of. So this hurts us as a business because, as I said, we're a young company, and I wanted to review the printers that I got in to help build my channel and to help people who are new to 3D printing like myself, to help them understand what options are out there, especially for beginners. It's important to me that I tried to help out people who were in the same boat I was 2 months ago and don't know where to start. So this leaves me with 3 printers. I have my Ender 2, which is a Creatlity printer. I have my Zonestar, and I have my Formbot Raptor. Now, I can't say that I know the source code release history for all the vendors. I don't. I haven't been at it long enough, and this issue's too new for me to have had time to go back and see the past behavior of all the printer manufacturers. What I do know is that Zonestar and Creatlity are pretty much a couple of the ones that are on the top of this list. I also know from talking to people associated with Formbot that the Raptor, they have fully released their source code. And on top of that, source code modifications from resellers like Tiny Machines 3D is fully available. They are not hiding any of that code. You're more than welcome to get the full-blown source code with all the upgrades. Now, I know Formbot also has the T-Rex 2 and the T-Rex 2 Plus. I don't know the history on those, but I do know that in this particular case, my Formbot is in compliance. My Ender 2, I don't know if all the code has been released on that or not. As a result, my stance on this right now is that I am going to continue to use my Ender 2 printer because it is still, regardless of this whole situation, it's still a great printer. I'm not going to lie and say it's not a fantastic printer at a great price. It is. It's proven itself time and time and time and time again. I am not going to review this printer anymore. My Zonestar, I am not going to review this printer anymore, at least until these GPL issues have been resolved. Now, I have read some threads from people over at Marlin that they are in discussions with Creatlity on this, and hopefully there's a solution coming in the very near future. That remains to be seen. Like I said, I am just not going to do further reviews on these and I am not ordering the Ender 3 or the CR10S as I had planned to. This is my stance on this. Now, since this week my original intent was to do the Ender 2 review, and I'm not going to do that, this week's video, this is pretty much it. Next week, I will have time to get something else planned for next week's video to replace what was going to be the Zonestar 1 month follow-up review. Just an update. I wanted you to know where I stand on this particular issue because it is the hot topic. Everybody is talking about it, and I had already told you that I had planned to do the Ender 2 and the Zonestar and the Raptor follow-up reviews last week, as a matter of fact. Now that I know what the situation is, we will modify our reviews accordingly. So again, don't forget, follow the channel, subscribe. If you want to get notifications on when the new videos come out, which is every week, then hit the little bell icon. I'm Jason from 3D Matter Makers, and don't forget, it doesn't matter what you're making, as long as you're making matter. See y'all next week.